Okay, hello friends. It's been a while since I've done one of these for YouTube. Been posting mostly on other platforms, but I just heard that I got a couple more subscribers and up to 4 now. So I figured I'd do another book review or whatever, book video. And most of these books I've probably already done, but nobody's really watching them, so I like them. Most of them I haven't read yet, but I anticipate reading them. They should be really good. They're well thought of for the most part. And I just wanted to show them off, do a little highlight some of the good ones in honor of my new subscribers, and hopefully maybe I'll get some more. Who knows? But one of them is a guy I hope I can call a friend, Mr. Jeff Terry from the Jeff Word, or he used to call his little page Jeffing Off, which I kind of liked. But anyway, he's got this little thing he does, and I'm not trying to rip him off or anything, but I just don't have the access like he does on some things. But he he shows his books off with a duff bucket and some beer. I don't drink beer. I'm afraid of what it might do to me. But I do have a duff hat. I don't have a duff bucket, but I have a hat, and I got some tea and a Pabst glass. So that's my little ode to him. It might be the only time I'll do that. Yeah, I respect him. Yeah, he was nice enough to be my fourth subscriber. So kudos to him. He deserves a lot more than he's got himself. He seems to be doing his channel right. But apparently books just aren't popular anymore for the mainstream anyway. I mean, not like twerking girls or anything. We could twerk too. Nobody wants to see that, I guess. And, so I'll get right to it and show off some of the highlighted books. I don't know how long this is gonna go. Most of my other videos drug on. We'll see. The first thing I'll show off is Anthony Zucker's series. This one's Dark Revelations, third one in the series, the Level 26 series. I really like the first two. Uh, Level 26, Dark Origins, and then Dark Prophecy. There's very few books that I can read and just get right into, and if I have the time, I could speed right through them. And these have so far been some of those, and I highly recommend them. It's probably a crime book, although the things that the villains do are kind of horrific. Although he doesn't really go into details too much, or what other characters do. They're pretty horrific too. But I kind of, that's because the horror genre spans at such a wide level. Myself, I consider the original Bambi a very beginning light horror book. You know, about as beginning of every something's got to be on the fringe. And as far as animals concerned, that would definitely probably be a horror book. And then of course they get very extreme beyond that. And so this is probably somewhere around the first quarter of the range, maybe. Like I said, most people wouldn't really consider it horror, but it's definitely got its moments. The next thing is a science fiction book. I know I've already mentioned this one before, but this guy's a friend of my brother's, and I read this one, and I really liked it. Defenders of the Savage Earth by Colin Tipton. Uh, my brother was able to get this one signed and inscribed to me, and if anything deserves to be a movie, I wish this would be a movie. but there are things that he mentions in there that might have some trademark or copyright problems. I'm not sure. I mean, he does take some liberties with some ideas, but he does a really good job with them. Apparently, this is going to be the only one he ever writes. I've been waiting forever for another one, and doesn't look like he's going to get around to it. But it's the last time I've seen reviews for it, every single one of them been 5 stars. So I would highly recommend this one. It's a very, very good book for science fiction. And another one is a little oddball that I came across. I like parodies and just weird, goofy things. And saw this one. It's titled "At the Mountains of Murkiness," and apparently it is a collection of very old short stories that are themselves they're parodies. And apparently one of them is by Arthur C. Clarke, which is where the title comes from, where he wrote a story where he imitates Lovecraft, which is something I never thought I would come across in my life. It never would have occurred to me until I came across this book. So, yeah, this one should be very, very interesting. It's not too long. It might be one of the next ones I read. I don't know. I've got so many on my TBR. I'm trying to get to it. And before I get too far into it, if you see anything you want to comment on, if you see anything I'm getting wrong or anything, just go ahead and let me know. Any comments are welcome. Let's see what else. I just grab something right here. I like just about anything Alice in Wonderland related. I got so many different versions and parodies and this and that. And when I came across this one, I jumped on it. There's many different editions, and there's 2 different names of the author that goes with them. This one is Tom Demijohn. The book's called Black Alice. It's apparently, I'm not sure if it's Alice meeting a black child or if Alice is a black child. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know exactly what entails with the story. Like I said, I collect anything Alice in Wonderland related. Everything I can find. I mean, here's another one right off the bat. I just highlight this one. Alice in Quantum Land. It's like a science type math book where apparently just teaches concepts. I jumped on it too, because, I like science and math. And then this one here, it may or may not have anything to do with the series and Charles Grant's Tea Party. There you go. You reminded me of Alice up there. I got it. Let's see. I'll show. I got a lot of special limited edition books, and I've got some rare ones. They're not all one and the same, but yeah. So I'll show off some of them. First off, get this. Got a lot of what you call shelf candy on some of my shelves. I think that's another word that Terry came up with. Kind of like, John Christopher's Little People. We can't really see this one. It's too dark. I'm doing this video at night, so the light's not really showing up very good. This, I think, is the newer edition. It's the one that's probably the easiest to get a hold of. And I was gonna read this one. I probably still will wind up reading this copy. But there's another edition that most people cannot find, and I persisted until I finally did. And there you go. The Nazi Leprechaun cover. It's one everybody wants. I found it. There you go. Now what I had done is that I found a picture online, and I printed it off and put it on the inside of that other cover in case I never did find this one. So there I would have that, always have that cover. Now it's just a duplicate, so got the real thing now. And of course there's the back, you know. Another one that seems to be almost impossible for most people to find, and I eventually did. Teddy. You know, I got a couple of teddy bear books. Can't think of them right off the hand. I think they're on this top shelf, but they're behind a bunch of other things. Got another one on my short list. I think it's called Winky. It's about the teddy bear that kills people. Anyway, so got that one. This was not quite as hard to find, although it can be, especially in this edition. Is Koja's Cipher. Forgot to show that one off. And this one, it took me a while to find, although it might not be as rare as I think. But yeah, Croak. I guess it's Killer Frog book. Once again, I apologize if the light's not letting these things show up very good. And my camera's making these things look backwards. Hope they're not backwards for you. So we'll just see. See what else. Just grab this one here. There's this shop out in the UK, Great Britain, that I order a lot from. It's All Data Lost Books, and I found a lot of good things there. And one of them was this one here, Amato Crowley's Lewd Ghosts. I don't know exactly what it's about, but it caught my eye. They did have Volume 2, and that was the only place I've ever seen a Volume 2. And I procrastinated and missed out on it. If you happen to have any know whereabouts of where Volume 2 would be, please let me know. But yeah, I would like to have that go along with this one. Let's see what okay. This is probably not all that rare, but I like the cover, and it's from one of those highlighted in paperbacks of horror. The Morgul Rises by Tremaine. Apparently it's a killer worm book. I got several killer worm books. These two have been a thorn in people's sides for a long time to find. And I was lucky enough to find 2 copies apiece for them. And of course, I sold the better of the 2, resold. The City and the Farm by Richard Haig. This was highlighted on, or the full painting or image is highlighted on the last page of Paperbacks of Horror. I believe it's a sequel to The Farm. I think The Farm came first. So there you go. Very hard to another. It's very hard to find. Another one is Night of the Crabs, Guy Smith. This is the only of Crabs book of his that I've got right now. They're they're not hard to find. It's just hard to find them on a good price, you know. There's so many, and I don't want to pay 15, 30, 50 bucks a piece for them. But if I can find like a group, you know, for a decent price, maybe. And as you can tell, this one wasn't really treated that well. It was left out in the sun apparently, and the color faded. Plus on the back, you can't see, but there's a big indentation where it looks like a brake drum or something was resting on it. Based on who sold it to me, I think it was like a garage, so it very well could have happened. This one was another thorn in my side to find, but eventually I did because I just liked the idea and I wanted it. Blight, Killer Moth book. How in the world can moths kill you? That would be very interesting, especially from what I've heard. And this one is a little curious. It is a combo book. I was looking for the first book in it, and at the time, this was the easier and the cheaper one to find. Although it may have changed by now, because once I find a book, I stop looking for them to see how they are for the most part in the trade community. But yeah, it's Eat Them Alive and Flesh Bait. Eat Them Alive is the Praying Mantis book. Flesh Bait's the book on piranhas. Let's see, Flesh Bait was by Holman and Press, and Eat Them Alive, of course, is by Pierce Nace. And of course, when they combined it, they put a skull on the covers. Yeah, I like the cover of Eat Them Alive, but you can't go wrong with this one either. So there's that. Now let's get into some actual limited editions. Got this one here. A lot of these things that come to my attention from the horror groups that I'm in, and then I search for them later. So I probably don't get the best deals in the world, even though I do try to look for the best deals. And when I looked for this one, the only copy I found was an ARC. Even though the limited edition had a bunch of signatures that went with it, a couple dozen at least. It looks like it's called the Voices from the Night. Edited by John McClay. Here you see. And I'm not sure if you can see this or not. Yeah. I think most of those people that had stories in here had a signature in the limited. But yeah, this one doesn't. But it's got a little sticker in the front telling you that the limited is going to be 750 copies and how it's going to come and whatnot. So I don't know if this makes it even more, if ARCs are more rare than limiteds or not. From what I understand, they're not really. But yeah, still got the same content, so that's fine with me. Doesn't bother me in the least. Oh, I do have some more things here, some rare ones. This is not the rarest version of this to get. Sean Hudson. Yeah, it's got the Abduction, the Visitation, and Come the Night in it. And of course, Come the Night is the exact same story as Chainsaw Terror. When you search online, results could be a little hit and miss. But I did find a copy of Chainsaw Terror. I'm kicking myself. I probably should have kept it, but I resold it because I found this, and like I said, I checked it. I checked dozens of little passages, and it's exactly the same from what I can find. And according to an article I found, a couple of articles online, it actually is. It just changed the name of it later on. So yeah. So if you want to find the story, this is the version to find, because the actual Chainsaw Terror book, even in a crappy poor state, can still fetch you $100 or what you're gonna have to pay for it. So it's a little tip there. This one's not quite rare, but it's getting there. Lee Clark's Defeating. I was on the fence about this one, but they talked about it so much in the book groups that I decided to snag it when I saw it was available. I hope this one's okay. It definitely looks like a good book. Bradley Snow's Andy. It's not really rare, I don't think. But I think it would. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it might have been self-published. Or something along those lines. And I'm thinking it might be signed. It says it looks like it's signed to Linda. I'm not sure if it is or not. Most people sign their name and it's hard to read them. And this one's done with a green marker, so usually that's not the choice for signing purposes. And I'll show this one because the Hudson, the two books there, The Abduction and The Visitation, they are actually sequels, from what I understand, to this book. Clive Harold's The Uninvited. So that's why I searched this one out. You can probably read them by themselves, but I decided, well, if you're going to read them, you might as well get this one too. Another one that not quite hard to find, but this copy certainly is. Thomas Altman's Black Christmas, the one with the hatchet on the cover. I've seen it available other ways, a lot easier to find. Let's see. Yeah, we'll show you this in here too. This one apparently is a kind of a comical book, Jim Jams, by Michael Green. I have a little story about this. Now, there was only one place where when I looked for it after finding out about it, the only place I could find it for sale was not in the United States. There was not a single copy that I could find for sale in the United States. But I could find it in Canada. And I believe it was on Amazon Canada. And from a third-party seller there. So I decided, well, okay, I'll go try to order it. It was a reasonable price. But if you do any book selling on or buying online, especially from places like that, you'll quickly find out there are sellers that will not sell out of their country or ship out of their country for some reason, which is understandable. Cross-country shipping rates can be pretty high. Although I've ordered plenty of times from Europe, Britain, Germany, France, I think, a few places like that. Australia even. I've ordered from a bunch of overseas places, and some people can get reasonable shipping rates. I'm talking like $5 or less or something like that. $5 to $10, even less than $5 for shipping for a book to get here. And it usually doesn't take any longer than it does in the United States to get to me. Although there was one book from Germany, it took like 3 months. But anyway, I don't know how they do it, how it works. That some people can get good shipping rates, but a lot of times, like if I wanted to look into it, and it's notorious for the people in Australia. They know very well about this. That shipping to and from Australia can easily run $40 and $50 from what I understand for a single book, and it can be $20 or more in other places. I think I've seen that myself. I don't know why it's different like that for different people. Oh well. Anyway, found this one on Amazon Canada, and I really wanted it, and I tried to buy it, and the seller, and I couldn't because the seller wouldn't ship it across the border. So I made a request in a book group, and a lady that happens to live up there did me a solid, and I'll never forget her for doing this. She allowed me to ship it to her house, and then she shipped it back to me. I've been trying since to figure out a way to repair. I haven't figured it out yet. Although it's been a little while now. Uh, she wanted to do it out of the generosity of her heart, and it's really nice of her for doing that. But I feel bad. It's almost like I took advantage of her, but I didn't. I put together a big gift box that I was going to send to her, and it wasn't that big, but it was good enough because we're doing swap boxes in the group. I said, well, this will be the same difference as that. So I'll just give a few things to her, and then I went to check. I think the shipping is gonna be like $40-50, like I told you, for that little bitty box. Uh, and that's good, just out of my range, But so maybe I'll think of something. I don't know, but I want to give a big shout out to her. I'm not sure if she wants me to mention her name, so I'll refrain from it. If she happens to see this, she'll know who I'm talking about. Uh, I still want to thank her for that. There's not many people that treat me well and do solids for me, and she sure done it. I'm not sure. I still to this day don't know if I would have been able to find this book without her. So I sincerely thank her for that. Anyway, back to the matter at hand. Let's put some of these back. Yeah, not sure if this is rare or not, but I'll show this one to you real quick. Queen of Hill, J.N. Williamson. Yeah, I got that too. You let me know if it's rare or not. I don't think it is. Let's see. Okay. Now I'll just show you some of these chapbooks. Whoa, careful there. And there they go. Yeah. Show you some chapbooks real quick. Lansdale's Duck-Footed. And it's okay. If you like Lansdale, you're probably gonna like it. It's interesting. Jack Ketchum's The Fountain and Edward Lee's Piece of Paper. Both of these were very interesting. I don't want to give anything away on any of these, but I just say, if you can find them, any of these things, they're well worth it. And this is a chapbook, or a couple of chapbooks, that are apparently not as rare as I originally thought when I got them. Edward Lee's Bomb and Kill the Enemy. To be honest with you, I don't quite remember anything about these. I know I read them. That happens a lot with a lot of stuff I read. I forget about them after a while. And this one, Edward Lee and Patrick Lestuka, which goes by another name. I have a bad memory, so its name escapes me, and you're probably going to kick me for that because it's a very famous name that I'm forgetting about. It's Mother Bitch Fight's a book, Mother and Bitch Fight. That's two stories. I think I remember Bitch Fight. The Mother's kind of escaping me at the moment. But yeah. But they were all interesting. This one was a little hard to find at first, and eventually I found it. Tales Too Extreme for Cemetery Dance. Collection of horror stories that apparently didn't make it into. I think they got a magazine. They didn't make it. And all these were nice, and I can see why they didn't make the cut. They're kind of not really mainstream. And this one here is been on everybody's list. And after reading it, of Pigs and Spiders. Edward Lee and John Peelin wrote one story, and David Niall Wilson and Brett Savory wrote the other one. And yes, these were very interesting stories. And this thing is very hard to find for the most part. But if you can find it, I highly recommend it. Like I do with most of my stuff that I'm showing right now. Let's see. I won't go much farther. There's not too many more things I want to show off in this video. I'll show you this one here. Most people can already tell what this one is without me even show it. Just by doing that, they already know what it is. When I ordered it, it come shrink wrapped, and I thought, well, that's going to be the way I leave it. But eventually, I'm going to read everything that I plan on it, reading everything I got, and so I did open it up. I just made a slit big enough to get the book out. It's still on there. If you don't know, the book's called In Layman's Terms. Kind of self-explanatory. Everybody's very familiar with it in the horror books group. And what caught my eyes when I got it, the sales slip that came with it. See, I bought it from Powell's bookstore. It's the cheapest version I could find a place. And under the barcode, they have Joe R. Lansdale instead of Lehman. Not Kelly Lehman, not Steve Gerlach, not Richard Casimir. No, it says Lansdale for some reason under the barcode. The way they market it in their store as the author or the editor or whatever. And as far as I know, Lansdale didn't have anything to do with this. So I'm keeping that to go with it. So like once again, I apologize. Dark cover, dark light. I am working on getting a copy. I'm hopefully getting a copy of Writer's Tale. I don't know if I can or not. I thought I did order a book that I thought I could resell so I could finally afford it. But of course, even though the book was very expensive for me, it was cheap according to the market. And apparently it was a scam because they apparently they never even bothered to ship it. But I eventually got refunded from the parent company because I ordered a third party from another company. Not Amazon, not eBay. This was like another seller that had a third party selling under them. So yeah, that happens quite a bit actually. When you buy a lot, you'll get that happening every now and then. There's one book that, well, I might as well go ahead and tell you. It's Lynn Cheney's Sisters. I've been looking forever for that. Apparently, according to the sellers, they finally changed the image that everybody seemed to have was like a photoshopped image or whatever. They were using the same copy of the beat up copy with a crease on the cover. Every seller that had an image had that picture for it, and some of them recently changed to what appeared to be a newer version, a new edition. So I said, well, I'll try it this time, and of course, didn't get it. I've tried well over 30 times, which sounds fantastic, but it's, yeah, just about every seller you can think of, they're famous, popular, and not. Overseas, domestic. I've tried it, ordering from a bunch of people, and nobody can get me that book. I'm not sure if they actually have a copy to sell, and every single one of them are scammers. But yeah, the book never shows up. Uh, Most of the time, I don't get anything. Uh, but sometimes a package does show up, and what actually is in the book in the package, when it does, is some random generic 50-cent romance novel from like the 50s or what, 60s or whatever. I don't think any of them have been worth anything. Uh, so I took them down to the place I worked and just left them because they seem to read stuff like that. Uh, that's if I get a book at all. Uh, I have gotten refunded every single time, I think. But yeah, I usually go for the cheaper versions. I think the most I've paid up front is like $10-15, even though there are some a lot higher. But but my track record, I'm afraid to go to those higher ones, especially after what happened to this other book. What I'm thinking is it's got to be some sort of conspiracy when it happens well over 30 times and you cannot get that book shipped to you. Is that it must be on somebody's radar, and when a copy gets sold, it gets intercepted somewhere along the lines and taken out of circulation. Whether it is destroyed or just put somewhere, I don't know. And sometimes they bother, they actually take an effort to put another book in its place, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just probably just get rid of the whole package. It's what it seems like to me. I mean, how else can you explain ordering a book that many times and never getting it? If you happen to have a copy, go ahead and let me know. Show me a picture of it. There's no point in you trying to sell it to me. It doesn't even matter what price you tell me, whether it's 50 cents, $50. It won't make any difference because if you try to sell it to me, I can guarantee it's not going to get here. The only way I can possibly get a copy of it, is if I physically find it in a store somewhere. And even then, I worry about somebody catching me on the way home and taking it. Because I'm thinking the conspiracy's that bad for some reason. I don't know. Your your thought. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. If anything like that's ever happened to you. But yeah, that's just my take on that. Let's see. Let's show you one more. This might be. I don't think I have any lettered edition books. All of mine are numbered. And I think at first I thought this was a lettered edition, but it turns out I think it's a numbered edition, but it's numbered in Roman numerals, which confused me. So I thought this might have been the rarest of my books. Well, not really rare, because I have some books that were printed, published very low numbers. Like I got one here. It's a short story collection. Yeah, let's go ahead and show it to you real quick. Rope Burns. It's changed its name by now, because uh, when it first came out, Amazon apparently didn't like the name, and they were only able to sell 4 copies of it. According to the people involved in it, they said press guys. I found this copy, I think, on eBay from the guy, the actual people there that put it out, and they priced it at a very reasonable rate, and they told me about it, and saying that they only had 4 certified copies that were actually sold before they had to change, and that's one of them. Although I might have a book that is at least one that's one of a kind, or two of a kind, one of two, or something like that. I've maybe as many as 3 or 4 books that are very low numbers like that. Let's put it that way. I just can't think of them right off the hand. But that's generally speaking, I thought this one was going to be the most limited that I have so far ordered, but it's not. I don't think. I don't know how many copies. It says here this is 45 of 75. So I don't know if there's any I got that was intentionally printed that low or not. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and tell you who it is. Grease Monkey by Masterton. I originally wanted I think I don't know if there's a trade or another type of limited edition that had this cover, and it turns out this one does on the inside, so I'm fine with it. Of course, I should be fine with it. This is a lot better book, and I do believe. Let me see here. Yeah, it's definitely got little illustrations in it that I don't think the other copies did have, and they're pretty graphic. I can't show them, I don't think. But yeah, if you're aware of it, yeah, this is pretty out there. So there's that. Let's see here. Another one. Infernally Yours. Edited and illustrated by Gak. It's a tribute to Edward Lee, I think, or somebody. It's limited to 450 copies, and they forgot to put what number this one is on there. Maybe that means it's a PC, I don't know. But yeah, I like a lot of Demon and Hell books. I got a whole box of stuff like that, of books I think either Demon and Hell related or take place in Hell. So I got a whole bunch of them. Maybe I'll make a video of them pretty soon. And I think this is one of them, but it's too good to put in there. This one here, I found the paperback at a flea market, which I was fine with. But no longer. I'm gonna include that in a book in a future swap box or something like that, or maybe I'll sell it. I don't know. Because when I found out that the hardback version has more stories in it, so well, I'll track that down and find it. It was a little tricky. Like a lot of the books have been tricky to find. It's Language of Fear by Dale James. Yeah, another one that's hard to see this low light. But yeah. And it's signed too, like a lot of limiteds are. I mean, it's got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Looks like 12 extra stories in this version, or entries. So hell yeah, I'll get this one. I mean, I got a stack of books where either wind up being duplicates or stuff I no longer wanted that I'm either going to plan on selling or put in a future swap box. But I'm a little leery on the swap boxes lately. I've missed a bunch of rounds of it. They're getting a little technical. You have to specify. You can't just give good stuff. You have to cater them to the other recipient, and you have to look for some of the books that they recommend that they like. So got to do that. Plus, there's a lot of other odds and ends I plan on buying. It's a little time involved and everything. But eventually I'm going to do that again. I've done it about 4 or 5 times. And it's been very successful. I've went way overboard in pretty much all of them. I gave some good stuff away. Let's see. Okay. There's one more I'll go ahead and show you. Just to finish this off. I don't know how rare it is. But, yeah. Shaft by David Show. I mean, I like the cover. But I think the trade's got the same cover on it, which I should have taken more time to look for it. But oh well. If you're going, a hardback and a signed hardback is just as good as. Which actually I think this is a trade maybe, because it just happens to be a signed trade. Yeah, I get those confused sometimes. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. So there's that. So with that, that's probably all. I think that's all I'm gonna mention in this video. There's just one thing that I just now remembered that I forgot about at the very beginning. Is when I talked about this book here. It's called At the Mountains of Murkiness, like I said, but on the acknowledgments page, it says At the Mountains of Madness has been published in a limited edition of 1,000 copies. So, don't know how rare this is, how many copies are still around. I was able to get this in a pretty reasonable price, but on that, but it says Madness, as you heard me. The book's called Murkiness. So I'm not sure if that's a typo or whatever, you know. I still want to know how rare this is or anything until I saw this on Amazon from a third party seller. That was the only time I've ever seen it. Just happened to be one of those recommended things, whatever. So, like I said, if you have any thoughts on any of this stuff, any comments whatsoever, you're welcome to leave a comment. Sorry this video was so long. That's the way it gets when you things like you should talk about things like this. And like I said, I'm just tip of the iceberg of the books I could show. You know, I got at least 3 other videos I plan on doing that I'd like to do really quickly. I got them themed videos, and one of them that I was supposed to have done this time. That I promised from the last video, which might be the next one. I don't know. And then of course you got those Devil Hell books that I want to show off on. And then I got a big box of animal or creature attacks books. You know, I got a lot of them scattered around, but then I got a bunch of them just grouped together, and I thought about doing a video of them. So. Yeah, and there's of course, there's all kinds of others I could talk about. But then, if you watch this, I thank you. I hope to see you again. Thank you again, and I hope you have a good day. And yeah, just thank you. See you next time.